Hello and welcome to Let's Fix Computers. Take a look at this. This is an Apple MacBook circa 2009-ish, and notice how it's all bulging out. Now this is battery failure. The battery is swelling inside the laptop and splitting the case open. Now this is a fault that I am seeing concerningly often right now. It seems to be that a lot of MacBooks from this kind of era, not just these polycarbonate white ones, but also the MacBook Pro, the aluminium ones as well, they all seem to be reaching a point where the batteries are just fatiguing and are catastrophically failing with this swelling manner. So first of all, if you see any signs that your laptop is bulging like this, then it's probably your battery. Do not charge it. And I don't mean that in the sort of advisory way, the same way that your mechanic might say you probably shouldn't drive your car. I mean, seriously, do not charge a battery that is swelling like this. Because if the battery ruptures, which it will swell under the heat of charging, if it actually ruptures, it will probably catch fire, which is where all these videos and stories of laptops, mobile phones and hoverboards catching fire comes from. It happens when the battery fails and ruptures. And let me tell you, lithium, nasty stuff, very nasty stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to very carefully just take the bottom panel off of this and just get that battery out of this laptop, which will A, hopefully save the laptop from damage, and B, it just means that we can get that battery disconnected so it's not dangerous anymore. I mean, obviously it's still slightly dangerous, but it's a lot less dangerous when it's disconnected. That screw's all bunged up with something. I'll take that out in a sec. It is quite amazing how much force these things can expand with. This is actually expanded strongly enough to strip 3 of the screws out of the threads there. And these are quite fine threaded screws as well. Let me just find a toothbrush. So as you can see, we've got a very large swelling across the top of that battery. Now this top part of the battery is hard plastic, so it takes a huge amount of force to push that outwards. However, on the other side of the battery is not hard plastic. There is just a plastic wrap around the cells. And unfortunately, that's the point where it's particularly dangerous because it can very easily expand and it starts deforming the rest of the laptop. One of the very early giveaways to this fault is your trackpad not clicking properly, because any pressure on the underside of the trackpad may prevent you from being able to click it. Now don't panic, because sometimes trackpads stop clicking just because they need cleaning. However, in the instance like this, it's because the battery is pushing up from the other side. These screws are very difficult to undo because the battery is trying to force its way out while I try and undo them. Alright, let's get that disconnected. And there we go, look at that bad boy. This should be flat. It should be thin like that. But wow. You can actually see the battery controller sticking out there. So yeah, so it looks like this is a 6-cell battery. The 4 cells here, 2 there and 2 there, seem to be okay, but the 2 end cells here, those are majorly swelling up there, and they've really come out with some force. So it's slightly soft under a fingernail, and that's from the buildup of gas inside the battery. Now that gas is, I'm not exactly sure what it is, however it's no doubt very poisonous and it's probably going to react badly as well if it ruptures. So we'll put that battery to one side, that'll get disposed of properly. Right, so now the battery has been removed, the laptop has started returning to normal. That's actually looking properly flat now. The trackpad is still sticking out. We can resolve this just by removing and refitting it. Okay, so that trackpad is a little bit bent. I'm just going to very carefully straighten that by hand. I have to be really careful because this is a glass trackpad, so it will just snap if I bend it too far. But just A little bit of gentle persuasion will just straighten out that progressive bend that the battery's put in it. And while I'm here, we'll just get the toothbrush out and just go around the edges of that, because where it's been bent upwards, there's obviously been a load of dust and grit get into the sides, which will upset it as well. I'm not going to do a full clean-up job on it because that's not really necessary, but I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing, get the worst of it out. Okay, so now I'm just going to bend these little tabs downwards so they'll stop pushing up the trackpad. And now when I refit the trackpad, we should find that that sits flat. There we go. And it's even clicking properly as well, so that's absolutely fine. So we'll screw this back into place, and then we just need to get a new battery. Okay, so with the screws slightly loose, I'm just wiggling that trackpad just to make sure it's sitting nicely. And now I'm just going to position it so it's nicely centered. And then while I'm holding it in place, just tweak those screws tight. And reconnect that. Typical. They always go slightly skew when you tighten the screws. I'll straighten that out in a moment just by loosening those screws and then just pushing it slightly to one side. However, it's not bulging, it's completely flush against the surround, and the clicker's working properly. So this laptop is ready for a new battery, and then it'll be absolutely fine. So in the meantime, the failed battery, this needs to be disposed of properly, so I'll take it to a proper battery recycling place so they can deal with that. Now, again, a word of warning, these things are dangerous. Make sure that you store this somewhere out of the way, so if it does rupture or if it does expand any further, it's not going to set fire to anything or anything like that. You know, put it in a box or some kind of container just so it's got something to contain it. I've seen videos on YouTube where people literally cut into the cell and release the gas. Now, I can't even begin to explain how much of a bad idea that is. So whatever stories you've heard or whatever videos you've watched, do not be tempted to try and repair a battery like this. This is dead, it's failed, get rid of it. That is all, that is my warning. Right, past that, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.